A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Allahumma la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una wanfa'na bima 'allamtana wa tub alayna innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Wa zidna min fadlika ilmut talim innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Ameen ya rabbal alamin. We have understood Murakkab Tawsifi to some extent, and we have also learned the difference between Murakkab Tawsifi and Jumla Ismiya. Let us look at some examples of Murakkab Tawsifi from Quran before we move on. I've got a list here of 9 different examples from Quran. The first one is yumatti'ukum mata'an hasanan ila ajalim musamma. This is Surah Hud. Surah Hud is chapter 11, 11th surah of Quran, and this is ayah number 3. So he will grant you good provisions until an appointed time, and this is one of the translations. So Murakkab Tawsifi here is mata'an hasanan. Mata'an hasanan. Mata'an is Mawsuf, hasanan is sifa. So we know that sifa follows Mawsuf in all the 4 aspects of a noun. So here we have Mawsuf, which is indefinite, sifa indefinite, in nasab and nasab, muzakkar, muzakkar, singular, singular. So mata'an hasanan, Murakkab Tawsifi. The second example, وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ. Surah Mulk, ayah number 5. We have decorated the heaven of this world with lamps, which means stars. So Murakkab Tawsifi here is as-sama ad-dunya. As-sama ad-dunya. This is definite, which is Mawsuf, and sifa is definite here. This is in nasab. Sifa is in nasab. It is muannas, muannas, singular, singular. If you remember, when we were studying muannas, there was a miscellaneous group in which we had quite a few nouns. One of them was sama, sama'un is muannas, ardun was another one, nafsun, shamsun, birrun, and then we had asa, harbun, which is fight. So if you recall that group, sama is part of that group, which is muannas. Ad-dunya is also dunya, and definite will be ad-dunya is muannas. Muzakkar is adna. Adna means really lower in rank, mean kind of thing, which is not that important, and dunya is muannas of that. So sama ad-dunya, the sky which is near to us, close to us. So وَلَقَدْ زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِمَصَابِيحَ. As-sama ad-dunya is Murakkab Tawsifi here. لِيُنْذِرَ بَأْسًا شَدِيدًا مِنْ لَدُنْهُ. Surah Kahf. So that he may warn about the terrible punishment from him. So terrible punishment. Ba'san is Mawsuf, and Shadidan sifa. So if we look here, this indefinite, indefinite, in nasab, and nasab, singular, singular, muzakkar, muzakkar. Next example is وَيُبَشِّرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ الَّذِينَ يَعْمَلُونَ الصَّالِحَاتِ أَنَّ لَهُمْ أَجْرًا حَسَنًا. That is again Surah Kahf. Ajran Hasanan is Murakkab Tawsifi here. Good reward or goodly reward, somebody has translated that. So Ajran is Mawsuf, Hasanan Sifa, indefinite, in nasab, muzakkar, singular. Wa inna laja'iluna ma alayha sa'idan juruzan. Surah Kahf again, ayah number 8. In the end, we should reduce all that is on it, which means earth, to a barren wasteland. So sa'idan juruzan. Sa'idan is mawsuf, juruzan is sifa. Again, this is indefinite, in nasab, singular, and muzakkar. فَكَانَتْ هَبَاءً مُنْبَثًّا. This is Surah Waqia. It is about the mountains. إِذَا وَقَعَتِ الْوَاقِعَةُ لَيْسَ لِوَقْعَتِهَا كَاذِبَةٌ خَافِضَةٌ رَافِعَةٌ إِذَا رُجَّتِ الْأَرْضُ رَجًّا وَبُسَّتِ الْجِبَالُ بَسًّا فَكَانَتْ هَبَاءً مُنْبَثًّا. So they will become like scattered dust. So dust, haba, that is mawsuf. Mumbassan, that's sifa. So scattered dust. What kind of dust? Scattered dust. So that is mawsuf, that's sifa. It is indefinite, in nasab, muzakkar, singular. فَبَشِّرْهُ بِمَغْفِرَةٍ وَأَجْرٍ كَرِيمٍ. This is Surah Yasin. To such people give good news of forgiveness and generous reward. Ajrin Kareemin. So that is Murakkab Tawsifi here. Ajrin Kareemin. Mawsuf Sifa. That is indefinite. Here this is in jar, and that is also in jar. Singular, and muzakkar. Zalika huwal fawzul azim. That is the highest achievement. Surah Hadid. Highest achievement. Fawzun azimun will be indefinite. This is al fawzul azimu. So it's definite. This is mawsuf, sifa, definite, in rafa, it is singular, muzakkar, and muzakkar. In antum illa fi dalalin kabirin. That's Surah Mulk. You are merely in gross error, major error, significant error. You can translate in different ways. So dalalin kabirin is murakkab tawsifi here. Mawsuf, sifa. Again, this example is in jar. From the Iraq point of view, jar, indefinite, muzakkar, singular, and singular. So quite a few examples of Murakkab Tawsifi from Quran, and there are so many others. The aim really here is that when you're reading Quran next time, try to identify these constructions and then say, oh, that is Murakkab Tawsifi. Okay, that is Murakkab Tawsifi. Okay, that is Murakkab Tawsifi. So it will help you to become familiar with the language, and it will be easy then when you are reading longer ayah. Later on we will analyze longer ayahs, and it will be easy for you to identify different constructions and different sentences and different kinds of asma. Let us move on from there, move onwards. Let's wipe this off. It's quite a bit. So our first example of Murakkab Tawsifi was a good boy. A good boy, and we translated that because A good boy is indefinite construction, not a specific boy, but some good boy, a good boy. So we translated that waladun hasanun, waladun hasanun, a good boy. The good boy, al waladul hasanu, al waladul al waladul hasanu, the good boy. So that's Murakkab Tawsifi, that is Murakkab Tawsifi. That's indefinite construction, this is definite construction. And then we moved on from there and we said, the boy is good. How do we say that in Arabic? The boy is good, which is now a sentence. The information is complete. And we translated that al waladu, al waladu hasanun. The boy is good. So we're going from definite to indefinite, and that is sentence. This is not a phrase like this one. So this is not a sentence we looked at last time. Al waladu hasanun. The boy is good. So what if we want to say the boy is in the mosque, for example? Let's wipe this off. The boy is in the mosque. Hasn't worked very well. Okay, that's better. So we want to say now the boy is in the mosque. The sentence has become a bit longer now. Okay, so the boy is in the mosque. Let us go back to the basic. We said kalima is of three types. Kalima, and we said it's ism, fi'l, and harf. We have done quite a lot of work on ism. We haven't touched fi'l yet. We have kind of looked at harf. Last time we looked at an example which was from Quran, and the example was وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تَعْلَمُونَ عَظِيمٌ. So the waqia, وَإِنَّهُ لَقَسَمٌ لَوْ تعلمون عظيم, عظيم, if we fully vocalize it. And I did mention a little bit that inna is a harfiya, which is basically particle of emphasis, and this lam is lam of tawqid. Again, a particle. So inna is particle, lam is particle. There is no specific translation or meaning of inna. Translations are there. It is translated as no doubt, of course, verily, etc., etc. So basically, it's a particle of emphasis, and it's a harf. So harf and plural is haruf. Harfun, harfun. Hurufun. Extra go. Okay. We are going to discuss this in detail further in the context of Jumla Ismiya. These are two huruf, and they are different kind of huruf, but there is another group of huruf which is has got different kind of meaning, and they have their own intrinsic meaning as well. For example, in English, we say if we use a word in harf or in specific construction, which is called a prepositional phrase. So, for example, if we say, wipe this off. If we say in, we say at, we say to. So these are huruf in English, and it's important to point out at this stage that they do not have, they have their own meaning, but to clarify their meaning, to make sense of their meaning, they will have to be combined with a noun. For example, if I say in, it is not going to convey you any message whatsoever. But if I say in the house, then it becomes clear. At dusk, it becomes clear. At reception, it becomes clear. So they need another noun to make sense of their meaning. Although they have their own meaning, but they do not convey anything sensible unless we combine them with another noun. So in the house, it becomes clear and quite sensible way of saying something, conveying something. Although the information may still be incomplete if we say in the house, and the question will be, what is in the house? So, but it's better than just keep on saying in to say in the house. And this is prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase in English. We have similar haruf in Arabic, and you're very familiar with them. And these prepositions in Arabic, they are called harf jarra. Prepositional phrase in English will be translated as murakkab jari in English. Let's look at these haruf first. I've got a list here. There are a total of 17 haruf jara, which are equivalent to prepositions in English. And of those 17, 11 has been used quite frequently in Quran. So we're going to stick to these 11 for now. They have their own meaning. For example, there's harf ba, it takes kasra, and it means with. Ta is used for oath, and it is a specific for oath when we say oath with Allah. So we say tallahi. So it is only used with Allah. Wa is a similar harf, which is again used for oath, but it could be used for anything else other than Allah. Quite commonly, we hear people saying wallahi. Ka is the meaning of like, similar to something. Ka asfim ma'akul. We are familiar with ka there. Fi is in the meaning of in the mosque. fil masjidi. Min and an, they have kind of both meanings of from. Ila, two are two words. Ala, on, at. Hatta, till. Hatta is usually end point, as in surah we say hatta matla al fajr. So that's a kind of end point. And this is lam, which is harf jar, which is different from the other lam, which was lam of tawqid. Lam of tawqid takes fatha, and this lam takes kasra, which means for. So this lam will mean for. So all these haruf, these are called haruf jarra, prepositions. And jar, harf jar will always be preceded by a noun, usually by a noun. Occasionally it may be verb, but most of the time it is going to be noun. And when they combine with a noun, they force the noun to take the state of jar from the i'rab point of view. So in grammatical terms, the slogan is harf jar ism majroor. For example, if we write here with the black pen, harf jar ism majroor is a kind of slogan. Yeah. Harf jar ism majroor. So whenever we have one of these haruf jarra, the ism which will follow will always be in state of jar. For example, if we want to say in the mosque, we will say in fi, and mosque al masjid. So this will become fil masjidi. So this al masjidu, al masjida, al masjidi. So fi has caused this noun to go in state of jar. So we've got this harf which is jar, and we have got ism majroor. And this jar and majroor combine to make murakkab jari. Jar and majroor combine to make murakkab jari, and this is our second murakkab. Our first murakkab was murakkab tawsifi, and our second murakkab is murakkab jari. So harf jar ism majroor. So whenever we have any of the haruf jara, they will be followed by ism, and that ism will be in the state of jar. So let us go to our example. We said the boy is in the mosque. The boy is in the mosque. Right, so we have vocabulary here. Mosque is masjid, is easy. In is fi, we know that from haruf jara, list of haruf jara, fi. And the boy we know. So we can translate that al-waladu fi in fil masjidi. Fil masjidi. So al-waladu fil masjidi. The default state of a noun is that of rafa. When there is nothing there to change the noun, we always vocalize that noun in state of rafa. There has to be something to make that noun to go from state of rafa either to nasab or to jar. And these agents which force that change, in Arabic they're called amil. So amil. So fi here is amil, and amil means actor or agent, actor from action, because it does perform action, and action is that this amil is going to act on the noun which follows it and going to change that noun from rafa to the state of jar. So amil and plural is awamil, this jamu mukassar. So we have got all huruf hijara their amil. There will be some other huruf which may not be amil, but they have their own function. But all huruf hijara their amil, because they make the noun following them to go into state of jar. So al waladu fil masjidi. So it will be wrong to say al waladu fil masjidu or fil masjida. That will be wrong. Al waladu fil masjidi. And if we end up saying al waladu fil masjida, that will be error of not sarf but nahav, because this is a construction. Fil masjid is construction, and that is to do with nahav rather than sarf. So al waladu fil masjidi, the boy is in the mosque. How do we analyze it? What is al waladu here, and what is fil masjidi? Because when we said the boy is good, let's go back. The boy is good. The boy is good. We said that was a sentence. The boy is good. So al waladu hasanun. Al waladu hasanan. So we said this was a sentence. And in this sentence, we have mubtada. That's our starting point. So that's mubtada. And this is khabar, information about mubtada. Khabar. So what happened here is that mubtada and khabar combine to make jumla ismiya. Jumla ismiya. Khabariya. I have written in the bracket khabariya, because in this case what we are saying is we are giving information about the boy. Information about the boy is that the boy is good, and we are giving information, we are giving khabar basically. But all the sentences may not be about giving information. For example, if I say, is the boy good? So I'm not giving information, actually I'm asking question. And that will still be jumla ismiya, but not khabariya, because I'm not giving information, I'm actually asking question. So there's a different terminology. We do not have to go into that terminology today, but that will be called then jumla ismiya insha'iyya. And those sentences where we give information, khabar, they're called jumla ismiya khabariya. So this is our analysis of this sentence. We've got mubtada, we've got khabar. And mubtada and khabar combine to make jumla ismiya khabariya. What about how do we analyze that? What is al waladu here and what is fil masjidi here? This is clearly is a sentence, because we know that from here in English, the boy is in the mosque. It's a sentence, it's not a phrase. So al waladu fil masjidi, how do we analyze that? So to understand that, let us look at this analogy, which is we can say Mubtada has a slot or a parking place. So Mubtada has this slot, and then Khabar has another slot or parking place. So they've got their own slots. So because this is the slot of Mubtada, whatever goes in here will be Mubtada, treated as Mubtada. And this is the slot or parking lot of Khabar. So whatever goes in here will be treated as Khabar. So we can write here al-waladu, al-waladu. And in this slot, we can write this fil masjidi. Fil masjidi. Masjidi. So al-waladu is in the slot of Mubtada, and fil masjidi is in the slot of Khabar. Mubtada and Khabar. So which means we clearly call this Mubtada, we can easily call this Khabar. We have said that Mubtada is always in Rafa and Khabar is also always in Rafa. So what state is this in? To know if a noun is in Rafa, there are some markers of Rafa, and we know that in singular nouns, in Jama Mukassar and in Jama Muannas Salim, the marker of Rafa is Dhamma, and that of Nasab and Jar will be Fatha and Kasra accordingly. In dual and plural, it is not these harka which are marker of their Arab. In those cases, we said that it's a sound, una and ina, ani or aini, in dual, and una and ina in plural. So none of those apply here, neither the sound nor the harka. So Arab basically could be of two types. We can say Arab is of two types. Arab bil harka, and Arab bil harf or bil sound, we said bil sound, bil harf. So sound of, for example, baytun, and the dual will be baytani. We said it's the sound of ani, but some grammarians say this is Arab bil harka, because this Zamma tells us that it is Rafa, and here ani, this whole of that is Arab, and they call it Arab bil harf. So that's another kind of harf. So either Arab bil harka, Arab bil harf, or in our case we said it's by sound. So none of those apply to the situation in here. So how do we sort that out? One way of looking at that is that we have said that these are different slots. Whatever is in this slot of Mubtada will be Mubtada and in Rafa, and whatever is in this slot of Khabar will be Khabar, treated as Khabar, and will be considered to be in Rafa. So because this doesn't have, the whole construction doesn't have any markers of Rafa, so we will say this is in state of Rafa. In state of Rafa. Okay. So in state of Rafa means in position of Rafa is another way of saying it. In position of Rafa. And in Arabic we can say mahallan in Rafa. Mahallan. Mahallan from the mahal point of view, from its place, position, the slot in which it is, from that point of view, this whole construction is in place of rafa. So it's mahallan rafa'a. It is not marfu because to be marfu you have to have markers of rafa. But we can easily say mahallan rafa'a, in place of rafa, in state of rafa'a. So we can analyze this now. This sentence, this is a sentence, and because it starts with ism, so it's going to be jumla ismiya. So al-waladu is our mubtada, starting point, and fi is harf jar. When we have jar, we are going to have ism majroor. This jar plus majroor combined to make murakkab jari, we have said, murakkab jari. And this murakkab jari here is khabar. And mubtada and khabar combined to make jumla ismiya khabariya. So that's our analysis in this case, that this construction has come here in the place of khabar, this murakkab jari. Now, one may say, okay, really, this is in the place of khabar, so this is not really khabar. So if we go into the nitty-gritty of it, this is not exactly khabar, but being in the place of khabar, it is acting as khabar. It is just like if Prime Minister becomes unwell, and then someone will come and fill in the place. And when our Prime Minister is on leave, rather than saying unwell, so that person will come and kind of will be acting Prime Minister. But then when that person is in the position of Prime Minister, will have the authority of Prime Minister and will be doing all the jobs which a Prime Minister is going to do and taking decisions and etc. etc. So literally speaking, then really that person is, for that duration of time, Prime Minister. So though it could be for a short period of time, but still the person is acting as a Prime Minister and is Prime Minister. So here, fil masjidi, although it is not exactly khabar, but it is in the place of khabar and it is treated as khabar, and quite often at the basic level of Arabic grammar, one would say, oh, fil masjidi jar majroor murakkab jari khabar. So we've got mubtada, we have khabar, and that makes jumla ismiya khabariya. So we can say here then this is mubtada and this is jar majroor fi mahalli fi mahalli raf'in khabar. So al-waladu mubtada, fil masjidi jar majroor fi mahalli raf'in khabar. So that's a way of saying that's how they say in Arab books, that fi harf jar, masjid is a majroor, jar and majroor combine to make murakkab jari, and this whole construction is in fi mahalli raf'in and it is khabar. So basically this is our khabar here. So al-waladu fil masjidi is jumla ismiya khabariya. So looking at these slots and etc. things does help to clear the concept. Just saying, oh, this is the slot of khabar, this is the slot of mubtada, this is the slot of khabar, and this whole construction is in state of rafa. Let us look at an example, at least one example from Quran. of Murakkab Jari. This ayah we are all familiar with. It says, Subhanallazi asra bi abdihi. Subhanallazi asra bi abdihi laylan minal masjidil harami من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى. And that's the first part of the ayah. So Subhanallazi asra bi abdihi, glory be to him, glory is for him who, that's one of the translations, who took his devotee or his slave one night from Masjid Haram to Masjid Aqsa. So from Masjid Haram in Mecca to Masjid Aqsa in Jerusalem. So here if we look, we have got this harf jar, which is min, which means from, and we have harf jar here ila, which means to or towards. Remember, hatta is endpoint. Ila, when we say ila, which means to or towards, which does not necessarily mean only up to that particular point. It may also mean towards that place. And here we know that the journey didn't stop at Masjid al-Aqsa, it continued after that. So it wasn't min al-Masjid al-Haram hatta al-Masjid al-Aqsa. So it didn't stop there. Hatta is an endpoint. Hatta matla al-Fajr, that's an endpoint. Ila is usually not endpoint. It could be, but it may not be. So ila, towards. So we have min, and because of that, masjid is in state of jar. Minal masjidi. We can't say minal masjida or masjidu. It has to be masjidi. And then after ila, again masjidi. Masjidi. So Subhanallazi asra bi abdihi laylan min al-masjid al-harami ila al-masjid al-aqsa. Why Masjid al-Haram is in jar? There is another reason for that. We haven't learned that yet. Aqsa has not been affected by that reason because it's a different kind of noun. So we will talk about inshallah at some other time. Subhanallazi sakhara lana. Subhanallazi asra bi abdihi laylan min al-masjid al-harami ila al-masjid al-aqsa. So I'm going to stop here and we will continue inshallah next time. And subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka